when I was there my first year getting ready to take my finals for the master's program. And Oxford's interesting. When you take a program, all of your finals are at the end for whatever you took. So if you did an undergraduate there, you might take classes for 3 years, but all of your finals are at the end of your third year. So that class that you took first term, your first year, you don't take the final for it until at the very end. So it's 100% all there at the end. You have to have it all ready, which makes it really intense. We were preparing for our finals, and a lot of the finals, you'll go into this room. There's one building that all the finals are delivered in, and you go in and your final will be put down in front of you, and oftentimes you need to write an essay on something, quite a lot of essay writing. As they were preparing it for us, they brought somebody in to walk us through, like, how do you do an Oxford essay? And they were saying that a few years before, they had done a deep study at Oxford. They were trying to figure out why it was that their grading tended to constantly favor male students. And they were very concerned because they wanted diversity and all of these things. And they wanted to figure out what was the problem, because all of the finals, those essays, are graded double or even triple blind, meaning you just have a number put at the top, and it's handed off to 2 or 3 different people who don't know who you are, don't know your name, they just know the number, and they grade it all independently, and then that is your grade. So it's quite objective as far as that goes. So why was it that their grading kept favoring men over women? And they realized that the deal was that Oxford was, for a long time, this is where they were training, for instance, the men who would be taking British troops to India and leading them as officers in difficult situations. And when you had a question, if I asked a student a question, there was a tendency, I think, in their female students to say, okay, that's a really good question. You could look at it this way, you could also look at it this way, and they would kind of pull it all apart, show all the different ways you could interpret it. Then there was a tendency amongst their male students to say, here's the question, here's my answer. Here's the correct answer, and I argue it out, and I say this is the right answer, and everything else is wrong. And that decisiveness of, I know what I believe, I'm going to make this determination, that decisiveness was something that they had over centuries come to appreciate and select for. And so you have this kind of institutional memory of selecting for equality that actually did tend to favor men. But I thought it was just really interesting where when you as an institution purpose to, we want an education that inculcates leadership, that it starts to kind of work throughout the institution in your instincts, your habits, and whatnot. And I think that when you've done that for 5, 6 centuries, then you start to develop a certain kind of inertia in that direction. I like the idea of being a school that has thought through what it is to inculcate a certain way of behaving. And I would like NSA to be that kind of school, that we're generating leaders and shapers of culture.